Hey, Shalom, Israel. This is Priest and Officer 500 of Bun Corral checking in from Greenville, South Carolina. Tonight we're going to do a class. Tonight is Wednesday's Biblical Law class. Tonight's class is Wednesday's night class, the Biblical Law class, where we do a breakdown on the laws that the Most High established with the nation of Israel. Tonight's topic is going to be very heavy. Tonight we're going to go in on the laws the Most High established for the nation of Israel to be separate from these other nations. The Most High told the nation of Israel to be separate from all nations, and He established that in the laws and the statutes and commandments. But yet now, with us being here in America, we are joined with other nations. With us being in different locations around the world, we are joined to all other nations. We follow these heathens. We keep their customs, their laws, their statutes and commandments that they have established. And with us doing it, we have started to fall. We have started to do things that these heathens do. Just like now in America, we keep all the customs of the heathens. We keep Christmas, we keep Thanksgiving, we keep all of these different type of customs that the Most High never established with the nation of Israel. He never told the nation of Israel to follow after these other nations or join and be a part of them. But yet our leaders, our Christian pastors, our black politicians tell us to join these other nations. And with us doing so, look at the destruction that is caused among our peoples. Look at the destruction that is caused among the black community, the Latino community. You know what I'm saying? We get told at a young age that we should love everybody and we should just join hand with hand. Martin Luther King, another black leader, told us to do the same thing. He tried to establish that in the 60s with him knowing that us joining with these other nations was very destructive. You know, how can you join your people to a nation that hates you, that wants to murder you, that wants to kill you, that has been slaughtering you for hundreds of years? Why would you want to join him? That's how we know the Most High knows better, man. The Most High knows better than what man thinks. You know what I'm saying? He established the law with Israel, with the children of Israel, which are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. He established the law with us to be separate from these other nations. And with us doing so, we were able to live and able to survive and able to be different from these other heathens. You know what I'm saying? From these heathen nations, Salaki. Because we're nothing like these other nations. Everybody try to compare us with Africans. You know, just because we have dark skin, we're not the same people. You know what I'm saying? Spiritually, our spirit is completely different from the African nation and people. And the Most High told the nation of Israel to be separate. And with us being separate, that's how we survive. That's how we live. You know, imagine if we were separate right now, like how we were during the early 1900s all the way up to the 40 and 50s before we lost, for everything was really, I mean, I even say like 66, around 66 and 67, 1966, 67, before we lost, you know, majority of our businesses and before our communities were flooded with drugs and all type of things, we had a lot more established. You know what I'm saying? I hear it a lot of times for a lot of older people that during the time of segregation, when blacks had their own things and so-called Caucasian people had their own things, that they lived better. You know, things might have been hard, but we had each other, you know, and we lived a lot better. You know, but now since we're joined with these other nations, look at how horrible we live. Look at the things that we have to go through. You know, look at some of the brothers that will decide to move out of the ghettos and decide to move into these rich, predominantly white neighborhoods. Look at how they're treated. Look at what happened to LeBron James when he decided to move into those rich white suburbias. This was some time ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. The side of his house was sprayed with nigger. You know, they was expressing how they really felt about him. You know, they didn't want to tell him to his face, but deep in their heart, they had a hatred. Just like the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21 says. So, you know, the Most High established laws for us to be separated from these other nations. And you know what I'm saying? It's good that we do be separate. All right. And we're going to go to the beginning. We're going to go to the book of Exodus and just show you some of these laws that the Most High established with the nation of Israel, which are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. some of the laws he established with us to be separate from these other nations, man. You know, he never intended for us to come together. He never intended for the nation of Israel, which are blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, to keep the customs of these heathens. Because what happens when you keep the customs of these heathens? You know what I'm saying? If y'all tuned in to class, you know, I want y'all to answer that question. What happens when you start to join with these other nations? What happens to you? Let me see who's in class, see who's listening, you know, see who's really tuned in. What happens when we start to join with these other nations and partake in their ways, and instead of the ways that the Most High established for us?
Minecraft pickaxe. Here you go, Vic. And one more item. You gotta have the Minecraft diamond shovel, right?
Give y'all a little time to answer this question. What happens when we decide to join with these other nations, and instead of being separate like the Most High told us to? What happens? What starts to happen to us?
We're stealing dirt. Alright, maybe Minecraft shovel. Alright. Get some dirt. He gave Lizzie Sharon a sword to beat the pond monster.
True, yeah, that's right. That's right. Give it up for the sister Adrian. And she said, you will start to sin. And that is exactly what has started to happen to us. She's right. That's what exactly has started to happen to us. When we start to partake in these other nations' ways, you start to sin. That's right. Because I.S.U.P.K, you right also. You start to practice their customs and holidays, which is another way of saying sin. Because we were never supposed to keep the customs of the heathens. You know, the things they do, the ways that they follow. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were never supposed to do that. Look at this now. Look at the examples I can give to you right now with us being in America. With us being in America, we have been beat down, robbed, starved, castrated, raped, humiliated, all type of things, set on fire, hung, you know, all type of sick things that were done to us. And with them doing these things, it kind of put us in submission. And a lot of our people, instead of being murdered and killed, right, you right too, we follow their gods. That's right, we do. You know, which is another way of saying that we start to sin. You know, we start to follow their gods and everything. And like I was saying, we done been beat down so much, like said, we start to follow their gods. And like I.S.U.P.K said, we start to keep their customs. That's what happens when you start following their gods. You start keeping their customs, and like the sister Adrian said, you start sinning, and that's what happened. Look at black people now. Look at what has happened to us when we start to keep their ways instead of the ways the Most High told us to do. You know, we start to celebrate Christmas, December the 25th, every Christmas. You know, we teach our kids that some fat white man delivered presents to y'all, and you know, you having a good time and all of this type of crap and garbage. And you know, days before Christmas, you know, brothers who don't have the funds to buy gifts for their kids, they go right here and commit all type of crimes. All type of crimes just so they can make their kids happy and give the honor to some fat white man, Salaki, some fat oppressor. You know, we lie to our kids and tell them that, hey, Santa Claus came down the chimney and brought y'all gifts and presents, when that is a lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, we start keeping their customs and we just go off. You know, they even got another custom now called 420, where everybody gets together and smoke as much weed as they can. You know, that is a custom set up by these heathens, by the oppressor. The Most High never told us to set up these type of traditions and these type of days and commit sin and keep their customs and follow their God. We were never supposed to do things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the Most High knows best. He knows more. He knows the way to keep you alive.
Now that the sand has cooled down,
you know, if you're tuning in, I want you to go to the book of Exodus, chapter 33, verse 16.
I know, it's been like 15 minutes. I keep applying dirt onto it and just smoothing it.
Yeah.
The book of Exodus, chapter 33, verse 16.
Getting there. It's like, it no longer looks like a clump of like wet dirt. Now it's gonna slowly get smooth.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 33, verse 16, and it reads, For wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Now this is Moses speaking with the Most High. This is the Most High. This is Moses saying to the Most High. For wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? You know, he's saying how now, you know, how shall it be known that here that your people have found grace in your eyes? You know what I'm saying? Like he was asking the Most High, how can we know that we have found grace in your eyes? You know what I'm saying? And how do you get grace from the Most High? Give y'all time to answer that question. How do you get grace from the Most High? How does he show grace to his people? How can you get grace from the Most High? In other words.
Investigate, and then we trap it. Well, let's go get our trap and set up these in the pond. Okay, ninjas, we are down here at the pond. Look, we found some 2 huge pond monsters already.
Hey, Shalom,
They've got people inside of them already.
Can I call you back when I get out of school? Teaching this class right quick. I was teaching the class. Can I call you back when I get out? Can I call you back when I get through teaching this class?
I've got the grappling hook here, so if we see him in the water, I can swing this around like, whoa! And it flies off the rope just like that. And hopefully that doesn't happen when I see the pond monster, because he'll win. But luckily you got your lightsaber.
Again, if y'all can answer that question, how do you get grace from the Most High?
See any signs of life from this pond monster? Let's go. Then just leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think this pond monster looks like. We have never seen it. We've seen little glimpses of it on the share.
That's right, because I.S.U.P.K, you're right. You follow his commandments.
Yeah, it's almost like a
You follow the Most High's commandments. That's how you get grace. Hey, Shalom, Ashan. We got, so far in the class, we got Amawad, Kazak Shapar, Ashan Ban Yahawda, Sister Adrian, she's right too. When you follow his laws, statutes, and commandments. That's exactly right. That's how you get grace from the Most High, by keeping his commandments. You know, if you want the Most High to show some grace and mercy upon you, you know what I'm saying? You follow the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. The things that he established with us from way back then. The laws, statutes, and commandments he gave to Moses. Not to Moses, but to Adam. Adam passed it down to his children. And from his children all the way down. You know what I'm saying? What do you think Noah was doing? He was keeping the God's laws, statutes, and commandments. Just like Adam. How do you think Adam knew the difference between, well, not Adam, Salaki. You know, how do you think Noah knew the difference between unclean animals and clean animals? Because he was keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. He was one of the only persons on the planet besides his children to do that during that time. And the Most High established that with the nation of Israel as well. You know what I'm saying? So if you want grace from the Most High, you have to keep his commandments. And his commandments, you know, are not grievous. You know what I'm saying? It's not hard to keep the Most High's laws, his statutes, and his commandments. They established with the nation of Israel. You know, that's how you're different in the eyes of these heathen nations, by keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. And he gives grace to you for keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep reading. Let me start from the top again. It says, for wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Is it not that thou goes with us? You know what I'm saying? That's how you keep the Most High with you, when you keeping his commandments. You know, that's how the Most High is with you during the things that you do, because you're keeping his commandments. So the Most High will be with you when you keep his commandments. You know, that's what we're trained to do in the I.S.U.P.K. You know, the brothers and the sisters here, we have been trained and taught how to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? So we can receive grace from the Most High during hard times. And just like these hard times are here right now, we see that. You know, we see that now in the earth. Like, look how coronavirus is killing our people. Look at all the police brutality that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Look at the brother who got shot in the back 7 times. Got shot in the back 7 times. You know what I'm saying? But by us keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, we do receive grace from the Most High. And that's what we've been receiving from here since we've been in the I.S.U.P.K. We've been receiving grace from the Most High. All right, and I'm going to keep reading. And it says, I'm going to read it from the top. The book of Exodus, chapter 33, verse 16. It says, for wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Is it not in thou Salaki? Is it not in that thou goest with us? so shall we be separated, I and thy people, from all the people that are upon the face of the earth. You know what I'm saying? The Most High has always established a law for the nation of Israel to be separated, you know, and to be separate from all of these people that are upon the face of this earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not supposed to be following these other nations. We're not supposed to be doing the things they're doing. Just like right now, we're going into the voting season. I brought out a class Monday about, you know, voting and how close it is to election time, which will be in November. And a lot of our people are going to go out here and vote, pick some devil to be over them. You know what I'm saying? I even heard it on a radio station today, a predominantly black radio station. You know, they're telling people, you know, if we want to make a change, we got to go out here and vote. But we're not supposed to be partaking in any of that anyway. We don't need to vote. Like, who are you going to vote for? You know what I'm saying? We don't need to vote. We don't need to do any of these things these heathen nations do. The best thing for us to do, and the wisest thing for us to do, is to separate from these nations. You know what I'm saying? Us to separate from these nations and come together as a people. Because the Most High has always told us to be separate from these other nations. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that's why we're in these conditions that we're in now. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we were separate right now, just imagine, think about it. How would we be living right now if blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians were separated from the oppression? Like, we went back to segregation, where we'd be like, hey, we're going to live on this side, and y'all going to live on this side. You know, we might be poor, but we're going to make it work. You know, can you imagine how good we would be right now? We wouldn't have abortion clinics. Drugs wouldn't be flooded in our neighborhoods. We damn sure wouldn't have to worry about the police brutality that goes on. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't have to worry about none of that if we were separated from these other nations. And that's the problem we have now. Our politicians and our leaders have told us to join hands with the same people who murder us in the streets. But the Most High established a law for the nation of Israel, and he told us to be separate. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Most High knows better than your politician. He knows better than your Christian pastor who tells you every day, every Sunday when you come into the church, you know, the best thing for us to do if we want to stop police brutality, we got to come together and try to make a change. We all got to be about peace. You know, we can't have hatred right now. We got to show love. And that is a damn lie. You know, that is the reason why all of these nations are able to continue to do the things they do to us. Because if you have a nation of people, whenever somebody from their nation gets murdered, the only thing they do is say, we all got to come together. We all got to be at peace. What are you going to continue to do to those people? You are going to continue to murder them, take everything they got. You're not going to show any respect to these people. And that's what has happened with the nation of Israel by us not keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. By us not being separate from these heathen nations. You know what I'm saying? Look at us right now, man. Just, you know, especially if you stay in the ghetto. You know, if you stay in the hoods and everything, you look out your window, man, you just see so much hell that your people are in. But that comes from us not being separate. That comes from us keeping the ways of the heathen when the Most High told us to be separate. The Most High told us to be separate, not just from one nation of people, but from all of these people on the face of the earth. You know, that's what's going to make us different from everybody else, by us being separate. You know, we start keeping our own laws, our own statutes, our own commandments, and start doing what the Most High told us to do, and instead of what these heathens telling us to do, you know, we wouldn't have any crimes in our hoods. You know, we wouldn't have the abortion rate by the tunes of 250,000 a year. You know, it's not that hard. We just have weak leaders who tell us to do different. You even have fake Israelite groups right now joining us with heathens. When you look into the Israelite groups, they got Africans in there. You know what I'm saying? They got Caucasians in there, oppressors in there with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you expect that to work? Like, you're going to be back at square one again because you don't want to listen to the Most High. You don't want to follow the laws, statutes, and the commandments the Most High established with the nation of Israel. You know what I'm saying? Like, That's why we catching hell, man. That's why you able to see brothers get shot down in the streets, man. That's why these governments are able to flood our neighborhoods with drugs and all type of things, because we follow these heathen nations. You know, where do you think we learned how to sell drugs from? You think we just woke up one morning and got the drugs and said, you know what, I'm gonna start selling drugs because I like to? Or did we follow a nation of people and see how them selling drugs made them powerful, made them rich, made them feel like, you know, we can build an empire? What do you think we learned it from? We learned it from the people that we started to follow. Another good example of that, look at Frank Lucas, a predominantly rich drug dealer in the 60s who was selling heroin. I want to say it was the 60s. It was like around the Vietnam War. You know, he was around the 60s and maybe the 70s. You know, he was a famous drug dealer for selling heroin. But even him, who was he at competition with? The Italians. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was trying to keep up with the Italians. He started dressing like he was an Italian, you know, wearing the suits, trying to have a black mob, trying to sell drugs. And look what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, he started to do what they do. He started following their ways. And what he didn't realize was that the Italians were doing one thing that he didn't pay attention to. They were flooding drugs into his community to destroy his people. And instead of him waking up and realizing that these Italians are flooding my community with drugs and all of these things, which is promoting violence, let me stop selling drugs. He continued to sell drugs. He wanted to be like them. He envied them. And the only thing he had to do was be separate. Not sell drugs. Do something different. You know, open up some black businesses. You know what I'm saying? Create some businesses. Create some jobs. Clean your streets up. The only thing he had to do was be separate. And look what happened to him. That's why I tell people, man. That's why the I.S.U.P.K always stresses that. You know what I'm saying? You might go to a job. You might work at a job. You might work a 9 to 5, 8 to 5, 12 hours here at a job. And you know you're going to have to be around people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might not want to be around these people, but we in slavery. We in captivity. So you have to work a job. So when you work a job and you get off from doing that hard work, don't go and try to join these heathen nations. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to go and join people that oppress you. You get off work, you might work with an oppressor. Bobby, he worked next to you. Y'all talk on the job. When you get off that job, go home. Go home to your people. Separate. Don't get off the job and be like, hey, Bobby, you want to go have a couple drinks and hang out for a little while? Don't do that. Separate. Go home, be right there with your people. Build your community up. Build your people up. You know what I'm saying? That's what the I.S.U.P.K has taught us to do, man. Build your people up, man. Separate. Be different. Be different. Don't do the things that these heathen nations do. You know, with us separating from these heathens, man, from this oppressor, do you know what type of impact they can have, you know, on their empire? If blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians just started to separate and started to do their own things and started to keep the commandments of the Most High. Just imagine on Christmas, if we decided to separate and go back and start following the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and we told ourselves, you know what, we're not going to celebrate Christmas this year, because in the Bible, in our laws, statutes, and commandments, it says celebrating Christmas is a sin, and it's in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? It's in the Bible. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull it for you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to pull it for you. I'm going to show you. If you want to pull it, you know, go to Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. And it says, hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel, which are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if we didn't learn the way of the heathen and we continue to be separated. You know what I'm saying? What if we didn't learn the way of the heathen? Like, even though we are in captivity right now, we have we're able to make decisions on our own now. You know what I'm saying? We can make better decisions and have better judgment. Like back then when we was in slavery, we were beat the hell out of into celebrating their traditions and their holidays and everything. You know what I'm saying? But now the Most High is starting to work with the nation of Israel and starting to wake us up. So now we're able to make better decisions when it comes to keeping the oppressor's traditions and his holidays, like Thanksgiving, 4th of July, and Christmas. And like I was saying, the Most High told us not to learn the way of the heathen, but we have. But just imagine if we didn't learn the way of the heathen. All right, and I'm going to keep reading. And it says, continue to read, it says, be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. I'm going to keep reading down. Verse 3, for the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth the tree out the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. Verse 4, they deck it with silver and with gold, they fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. You know what I'm saying? What is that talking about? That's talking about Christmas. Christmas has always been something that has been around. It's a Babylonian tradition, which was started by Nimrod's mother. So Christmas has always been around. But these oppressors, what they do is they go around and they keep the customs of other nations. They rob everybody for their traditions, their customs, their ways, and that's just always been the oppressor. They're a bunch of culture vultures, man. You know, they steal anything that they can get their hands on, and that's where Christmas was established at. They found out about it, they seen the artifacts, they read up on it, and they started keeping it, and they pushed that on us. And like the Most High said, he said, learn not the way of the heathen. So what we should do, you know, we should learn these ways of the heathen. So like I was saying, just imagine if blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians didn't celebrate Christmas. And on December the 25th, instead of celebrating Christmas, all of us got together and said, you know what? Since we're separated from these heathen nations, no longer will we celebrate Christmas. Do you imagine what would happen on Christmas Day? Do you know how much money this empire would lose if we didn't keep their traditions? Like if we didn't celebrate Christmas and all of the toys that they've been making, all of the revenue that they're used to making, and all of the money that they're used to generating on December the 25th. Even if it was just half of our people to do this, do you know what type of, man, do you know what would happen? Do you know how these devils would be, man? These devils would start killing themselves in the street, man. These devils who own these big businesses like Walmart, how they get our people is they set up the layaway program like in August. I think it's the last week of August. I think I seen the sign when I was in Walmart, and it said layaway available. So what they do is, in order for them to continue to make the money that they make, they know a lot of people don't have cash. They know blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are poor. They know we poor as hell. They see our conditions, and they know that we don't have the most money. So what they do is they make programs like the layaway programs. You start seeing everybody doing the layaway programs. You know what I'm saying? For the toys, for the shoes and the clothes. You know what I'm saying? So that they can generate more money. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong to, put some things on layaway, but what is wrong is for you to get, to celebrate Christmas and keep these customs of these heathen nations. But these heathens and these devils are pretty smart. They're smart. They know a lot of our people are still following after their ways. So they established the layaway program. So you go celebrate, Christmas, and you go out here and start a layaway. And our people have, when I was in the world, I remember the line for the layaway used to be like damn near, like, man, the line used to be so packed. You know what I'm saying? Like they used to do it at a place down here called Kmart. And the line used to be so packed with people, with blacks, Latinos, and, so-called Native Indians, just packed with our people. A couple Caucasian people in the line too. The ones that are poor amongst their people. The line would be packed with our people. Everybody got 2 buggies full of toys, 3 buggies full of toys, game systems, TVs, and it's just, and I'm thinking about it now, just looking at how many people had their buggies full of stuff, And that was just thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of type of, dollars. You might have 30 people in the line and everybody has $2,000. I'm just lowballing $2,000 worth of merchandise in their buggy. So look at the money that we spending. You know what I'm saying? Look at the money that we spending in these stores. You do some math. 30 times 2,000. I'm just lowballing because I've seen people go, all out for their children on Christmas. So you do 2,000 times 30. That's $60,000, man. Sheesh, that's $60,000 that they're making off just one line of people. And these stores have establishments set up all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Walmart has tons of businesses set up all over the place. So that's just off 30 people. That's $60,000. You know what I'm saying? Like if you continue to add this up, you look at how many stores they got, how many people come in. More than 30 people come into the store a day. You know what I'm saying? Right, Sean, right, and bills right around the corner. You know what I'm saying? You got people in there spending they last just to do a layaway from the kids, and to make the kids happy. December 25th come, the kids open up the presents, the parents happy, they smiling, they just, man, the kids happy. They, I'm glad they happy. And then as soon as they get through opening the toys, you go sit down in the room and have you a good drink, because now you got to figure out a way. How are you going to catch back up on your bills? You know what I'm saying? How you going to get back right? How you going to pay this bill? How you going to pay that bill? You don't spend $3,000 that you weren't supposed to spend. You know what I'm saying? Or in some cases, you have brothers and sisters who are not together, and they might be separated, and you might have the children staying with the mother. So the father is going to try to do as much as he can to make that mother happy, because we all know what, I know personally, what would happen if you Christmas come and you come empty-handed, or you come with 2 or 3 toys or something like that. You know what I'm saying? When I was in the world and I wasn't doing what I'm supposed to do correctly according to them, you know what I'm saying? I come with some stuff that they don't feel comfortable with, but the kids would be happy. The kids go, oh, you got me this and got me that, and the mother sitting over there looking at you, giving you the evil eye, just like, look at this nigga. Look at this piece of trash. He gonna come up here with that stuff, act like, he's happy, like that's enough. That ain't enough. You're supposed to bring 7 pairs of shoes, 20 outfits, an Xbox, 30 games, this, that. And now you just, make you feel even worse about yourself. Like I said, imagine if we stop celebrating Christmas, man. You got brothers who go out here murder and kill just to make their kids happy on Christmas, man. They go out here and rob everybody just to get some toys, just to get some money, so they can make their kids happy on December 25th, not even knowing that Christmas is a paganism holiday. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Most High told us to be separate from these nations, man. Like, with us just stopping celebrating one day, just that one day, just imagine if we didn't celebrate Christmas and we did listen to the Most High, and we decided to be separate from these heathen nations. Imagine how many lives would, be able to be saved. Imagine how many people wouldn't have to get robbed, how many doors wouldn't get kicked in. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's so important for us not to follow these heathens, man. It's very important not to follow these heathens and join with them and do the things that they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Just like 4th of July. You celebrate those precious Independence Day. You celebrate the day he got his freedom. Imagine if we didn't celebrate it. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if we didn't follow them. I was thinking about situations. Sister Adrian said people believe that that is how you show love to your kids, by buying them gifts. Right. And that's what our people believe, man. We've been taught that from Massa, from the oppressor, because we watched them do that to each other. And we seen them happy, smiling. You know what I'm saying? Seeing their children smiling and happy. So what do? We say, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to follow what they do, man. I'm going to do what they do, because I see their kids smiling. I see their family happy. And I see them with the meal and everybody coming over to the house. I'm going to follow them and do what they do. And look what has happened to us now by following these heathen nations instead of listening to the Most High and being separated from these nations. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've taught our kids, like, it's so much destruction just off that one day, man. Just off Christmas alone. You know, the lying that we do to the kids. You know, putting ourselves in debt. The brothers who get arrested, people that get killed because brothers want to celebrate Christmas and make their kids happy. They go out here and break into somebody's house, rob somebody, kill somebody. So now you got somebody dead, murdered. Now you got this brother who might get caught going to jail for life just trying to make his kids happy by celebrating a lie. And the only thing we had to do was be separate from these heathen nations, man. That's the only thing we had to do. Like I was saying, 4th of July was a situation that happened down here in Greenville at a club. And a sister and a brother both lost their life, man. It was very sad, man. But the first thing I thought to myself was, imagine if we were separated from these heathen nations, man. Imagine if we were separate and we didn't keep the 4th of July. You know what I'm saying? Those people who got killed in the club would have survived, man. And that's the first thing that came to my mind. And I just thought to myself, I said, damn, we are a destroyed people, man, for not listening to the Most High. And our Christian pastors sit up there every Sunday with the Bible and don't tell our people that the Most High told the nation of Israel, which are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, that we should be separate from all nations on the face of this planet, man. Like, they don't tell us that. And that's why we go in the streets. You see us in our classes. We charge these Christian pastors for what they have done to our people. We charge this empire for what they have done to our people, man. You know what I'm saying? These people have destroyed our people, man, by forcing us and lying to us and telling us to join with them, to be like them, instead of being separated, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to read this scripture again from the top. This is the book of Exodus. So like, I'm going to go back to this scripture. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 33, verse 16. So like, the book of Exodus, chapter 33, verse 16, and it says, "For wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Is it not that thou goest with us?" You know what I'm saying? Like we said, you get grace from the Most High by keeping his commandments. And that's how the Most High will go with you and be with them. Right, Sean Wright, no better than John the Baptist. You know what I'm saying? John Baptist was not in the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm going to continue to read. And the Most High said, "Is it not that thou goest with us? So shall we be separated. I am thy people from all the people that are upon the face of the earth." Like, we're supposed to be separate from everybody on the face of this earth. We're not supposed to be like the Chinese, the Japanese, the East Indians, who else out there? You know, the so-called European race, the Caucasian race. We're not supposed to be with them, the Africans. You know, you got our people going to Africa thinking we African, we doing our thing. No, man, you're supposed to be separate from these heathen nations. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not supposed to be like none of these people on the face of the earth. You know what I'm saying? That's why we work and strive so hard in the I.S.U.P.K to tell our people this truth, man. Like, try to wake our people up, because do you know how your life could change if you were to just come back to your people and be separate from these other nations? Like, this empire would fall overnight if we were separated. And you're starting to see some of our people wake up. You know, I ain't gonna say some. You're starting to see a lot of our people wake up. They're starting to wake up to this truth and realize what's going on. I'm starting to see the games that this nation is playing. So I hope this shit right here, it is a horrible year for Esau and his empire. You know what I'm saying? Like 2020, like what everybody say, I wish we could just throw 2020 in the trash and start over. Like, this year isn't even finished yet. The Most High is working on this place, and he's forcing us to be separate from these other nations. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see it in the NBA games. You see, what did they say? What's his name? Skip Bayless. He was talking about how the so-called black man in the NBA, how they were being separate and sending text messages to each other, talking about they wasn't going to play games. He said, I'm pretty sure that they were doing that. They were just, talking amongst themselves. And they did do that because they're starting to understand that the only way we can fix this problem if we separate and we come together. And, you know, I salute them brothers from the NBA with what they did, but they can never do what we do here in the I.S.U.P.K. But, you know, I salute them for what they did, for coming together and being separate from those other nations and realizing that the only way that we can make a change if we come together, we start putting our minds together and start doing things. And they did that, and, you know, they canceled a couple games, but, you know, they still went and played. That's why I said, you know, they can never do the work that we do here in the UPK. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we wouldn't have played no more games. You know, we would have shut the NBA league down if we would have brothers and sisters in the that were in the UPK that might be making money. You know, we'd have told them, don't go play no games at all. You know, let that place shut down. All right, I'm going to go to the book of Leviticus. Pull some more scriptures, man, showing you where the Most High has always wanted the nation of Israel, which are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, to be separate. Like, it has always been a law for us to be separated from these heathen nations, man. This is the book of Leviticus chapter 2 and verse 26. I'm going to give y'all some time to get it. This is the book of Leviticus chapter 20, verse 26. All right, and it reads, the book of Leviticus chapter 20, verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me. What people don't understand is the Christian church goes up in the church making songs called Holy, Holy, Holy. Lord is holy. I'm holy. You know, holy socks and all of this. But they don't realize the word holy means separate. That's what the word holy means. Like when you have a Bible and it says Holy Bible, it means separate. Like this, like the Bible is separate. It is a separate book from any other book because it was laws, statutes, and commandments given to the nation of Israel. And so the Most High is telling us, the nation of Israel, ye shall be holy unto me. So we're supposed to be separate only to the Most High. We're supposed to be only for the Most High and separate from anything else. From anything else on this earth, we're supposed to be separated from and be joined to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And like I was saying, you know, it's a question for y'all people that's tuned online. What happens when you're holy from everything else and you're joined to the Most High? What happens when you're separate from everything else in the world and you're holy, you're joined with the Most High? What's going to happen when you separate yourself from everything else in the world and you're joined to the Most High? What's going to start happening? What's going to start happening? See if anybody can answer that question. Just, give me some answers on it. What's going to start to happen if you separate yourself from this world and start to join yourself back with the Most High? Trying to see if anybody gonna put some answers up. Damn right, because Akshapar nailed it right on the head. You begin to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like Yahushua said, be ye perfect like their Father is in heaven. That's what's going to start to happen when you start to separate yourself from the world and you start to join yourself, you know what I'm saying, with the Most High. Hey, Khan, Sean also, Sean Bon Yahweh, he said life is going to get a lot better for you. It is going to get a lot better for you. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be a sinner, and you're going to learn how to be perfect because the Most High is perfect. That's what happens when you start to separate yourself from this world and you start to join yourself with the Most High. You begin to learn how to be perfect. You begin to learn how to separate yourself from the ways of these heathens in this world. You know what I'm saying? And like Ashan said, life is going to get a lot better. You know what I'm saying? Life is going to be a lot better when you put the weed down and don't have to worry about riding around in these various neighborhoods looking for weed and you get stopped by the police and ain't no telling what the Most High might allow to happen to you when you get pulled over by these police. Or you might decide to go to one of these houses to get some weed, and when you walk in there, somebody just bust in and rob the drug dealer, shoot him and shoot you. You know what I'm saying? Life is going to get a lot better for you. You know what I'm saying? When brothers stop throwing away sisters and stop having sex with various women and just having kids, you know, without thinking that sex is marriage, you know, life is going to get a lot better for you, because now you're not going to have to worry about child support. Now you're not going to have to worry about catching AIDS because you want to be a whoremonger. You want to just have sex with sisters and throw them away. Now you don't have to worry about your car being set on fire by some sister who you play games with. And the same thing goes for sisters. You know what I'm saying? When you begin to separate yourself from this world and begin to join yourself with the Most High like He has commanded us to do, you know, things begin to get a lot better for you. You know, now you don't have to worry about dealing with some brother who's just going to have sex with you and throw you away. Or, you know, worrying about some brother who you want to be with, but you don't know too much about him, and, you know, you bring him around your kids and he try to molest your kids, or he beats on you or abuse you. You know what I'm saying? Because you start to understand the Most High's commandments better, and you separate yourself from this world, and you leave that lifestyle that you once lived behind. You leave all those things alone. And, you know, that's what we see with the brothers and sisters who are who have put themselves into the I.S.U.P.K and really changed their life. You know, you hear so many stories about brothers and sisters who separated themselves from the world, and they just started to keep the commandments of the Most High and listen. You know, you hear the stories of how horrible their life was, and the things that they went through, the drug abuse, the physical abuse, the mental abuse. You know what I'm saying? The child molestation, family members raping them, the abortions, friends being killed, you know, brothers being set up, brothers doing hard time in jail, and the things that they have to deal with in jail. When you start to separate yourself from this world and you start to come back to the Most High and serve Him, life is going to get a lot better, just like the brother Sean said. You know what I'm saying? You're going to begin to be perfect, like the brother Kazak Shapar said. Life is going to get better, and you're going to be perfect. And your family's going to look at you like you crazy, like you done lost your damn mind when you tell them, hey, I don't eat pork, I don't eat shrimp, I don't celebrate Christmas, I don't smoke weed, I don't do this, I don't do that. They're going to look at you like you crazy. They be like, what the hell going away from? What's going on with him? And another thing that's going to happen with your family is they're going to want to be separate from you. They're not going to want to be around you no more. They're going to think you crazy. You know, your mother might still love you. You know, the brothers, but you sisters, you know, when you tell your mother that your husband can have another rib, she is going to disown you. She gonna call you stupid. She gonna say, don't call me no more. Don't bring them damn kids over here. I ain't watching them damn kids no more. You know what I'm saying? You stupid. You gotta be out of your mind. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of these mothers be single and don't even have a man. You know, same thing with the friends that y'all have. The friends are gonna separate from you, brothers and sisters. When you tell that brother, hey, bro, man, you know, I don't smoke weed no more, man. You know, you're not gonna get as many phone calls. They're not gonna come around. They're not gonna want to hang out and chill with you. They was like, man, shit, man, he ain't doing that but sitting over there reading the Bible. This nigga act like he better than everybody. It's not even that. You're just keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. You're trying to do right. You know, you don't want to live a life of sin, because you see what happens when you don't separate yourself from this nation, from this kingdom, and what happens to you, and all the horrible things that get done to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to read it from the top again. The book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I thy Lord am holy, and have served you from other people, that ye should be mine. And the Most High is telling you that He's holy, that He's separate, that He's not the same like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, He's not the same like these other guys. The Most High is holy. He's separate. And the Most High also said, He says, and have severed you from other people. I'm going to ask y'all another question. What does severed mean? You know, what does it mean to sever something? Yeah, a little time. What does it mean to sever something? Let's see who can give me this answer. Damn right, Kazak Shapur said, cut yourself off from these heathens. That's right. Cut yourself off. That's what it means to sever. It means to cut off. You know what I'm saying? That's what it means from severed, what it means to be severed. Just like what they said, we're going to have to sever your arm. We're going to have to cut it off. Like the Most High is telling us that I have cut you off. You know what I'm saying? He said, I have cut you off from other people. Who's the other people? These heathen nations. Those are the other people. The Most High has always cut Israel off from these other people. Taylor Johnson, he said, separate yourself. Damn right. Taylor Johnson, check in. Where you checking in from, brother? Damn right. The brother said, cut off. That's right. Taylor Johnson said, separate yourself. Cut off. Taylor Johnson, if you can, just check in. And, and how you check in, you just say, hey, Taylor Johnson checking in from, so-and-so. That'll be your city, your state. You know what I'm saying? Just let us know where you're coming from so I can take your attendance. Just say Taylor Johnson checking in from so-and-so Georgia, so-and-so South Carolina. Damn right. The brother said, cut off. Oh, man, that's my brother right there, man. I grew up with Taylor, man. What's going on, Taylor? Good to see you in class, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like the Most High said, man, he said he was going to separate us and sever us from all of these other nations. He wanted us to be cut off from these other nations and have no dealings with them. And that's why, man, people get mad when we say separate from these other nations, man. Don't join these other nations. Because you have to sit back and look at the condition of our people and what has happened to us by joining these other nations. Martin Luther King, expressed that he had a dream that one day little black boys and little white boys will join his hand together and sit at the table of some garbage. And look what has happened to us by doing that. Our people went out in the 60s and went and got our heads cracked open just so we could join these people and give our business to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really think it was worth it to have our brothers and sisters during the time of Martin Luther King's protest telling us to go out there and march so we can join hand in hand with America, be treated like Americans and good citizens? Do you really believe that it was worth it? Do you know what happened to our people with them trying to fight to join with America? When the Most High told us, he said, be ye separate. I'm going to sever you from all other people. And Martin Luther King was a reverend. What they call him? Is it Reverend Martin Luther King? Pastor Martin Luther King? Dr. Martin Luther King is something, but he would get the Bible and open this up. He was raised in the church. He had these laws, statutes, and commandments. But not one time did he not tell our people to be separated. And our people went out there in the 60s, man, and got sprayed with water hoses. Like, these are the same water hoses that they use to put out fires. Just think about this. That fire hydrant that you see right there on the corner, during the 60s, they would take the water hose, hook it up to it. And when we would come marching in the lines, they would spray us with the same water from the water hose that they would use to put out a fire in a building. This water is so powerful that it can put out a flame in a building. Now, can you imagine what that does to your body when you get hit with it, to your skin? That type of force and power. We got sprayed down with water hoses because Martin Luther King told us to join with the people who hate us. That's why you can't listen to these false leaders, man. Because they're going to tell you to do something that goes against the Most High. And when you do that, the Most High is going to bring down, man, a heavy judgment upon you, man. And it's not worth it. Who you going to listen to? These false leaders of the Most High. Who you gonna follow? The Most High or these false leaders? It's like, who you gonna listen to, man? Martin Luther King told us to join with these people who oppress us and kill us and hang us. This was in the 60s. Man, do you know how crazy it was in the 60s? Imagine living in Alabama in the 60s. Imagine living in Alabama in the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, and the 30s. Imagine living in South Carolina in the 60s, in the 50s, in the 40s, and the 30s. Like my great grandmother told us stories about how these oppressors would treat our people. Imagine living in Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? Texas, Louisiana. Like imagine how people were getting done and treated in these racist places. You know what I'm saying? But yet Martin Luther King told our people in the 60s to join hands with these people. And don't get it wrong. There were people out here who didn't support Martin Luther King. That knew that his whole ideology was stupid. Was like, you want us to join hands with the people who hate us? It doesn't make sense. That's why the Most High said he severed us from other people. He cut us off from these nations, man. Because he knew the day that we would join hands with these people, it would be the biggest mistakes of our lives, man. He knew once you join these people, guess what's going to happen? They're going to put somebody on the top and somebody going to be on the bottom. Because at the end of the day, them people that you're trying to join with don't care about you. The only thing that they're worried about is their people. So imagine when you got people who are dying to be with you. Like, man, we willing to get sprayed with water hoses. We willing to take our women and bring them with us while we march. Like you can crack my sister in the head with a knife stick, and we still want you to have our business. We still want to be a part of your empire. You know what? I want to be a part of your empire so bad, I'm willing to come sit down in your restaurant and eat. Even though I know the food's horrible. Even though I know your food doesn't taste like mine. I'm willing to go through that. But the Most High told us to be separate, man. He told us not to join hands with these nations, man. He tried to save. The Most High tried to warn us and save us, man. Like he told us, be separate, man. I severed you from other people. Like he was trying to tell us, like trying to warn us from these things that were going on. Like, I'm doing this for a reason. I'm not just doing this just to say so. I'm doing this because I know what's going to happen the minute you join with these people. You know what I'm saying? I know what's going to happen to you the minute that you decide to join with these people and partake in their ways, keeping their customs, following their traditions, saluting their flag, joining their wars, joining their militaries. I know what's going to happen to you. And he tried to warn us. And we didn't listen. And look at 2020. Look at 2020. Look at the condition of us now in 2020. Look at us now. With us not listening to the Most High and separating, look at us now, man. Look at the condition of blacks, man. Look at the black household. You know what I'm saying? Look at what happened to the black household the minute that we didn't follow what the Most High said and decided to join with these nations when he told us not to separate with these nations. The black households are destroyed, man. Majority of our black households have single mothers, man. And don't think to yourself that, it's his fault, it's her fault. No, it's not. It's not neither one of y'all fault. In some way it is, but it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. The so-called oppressor did this on purpose. That was his whole plan. Like before Martin Luther King established us joining hands with the oppressor, we had more fathers in the household. We had more married couples. And you know what I'm saying? Like the oppressor seen that happen. He's seen what happens when we separate from him and what happens when we join with him. Don't ever a day in your life think that this all just happened by mistake. They seen the results of what happens when you separate us from them. Think about the Great Depression during the 1920s when the Great Depression happened. Were we joined together during the Great Depression? No, we were not. We were separated. You had blacks living in one place and you had so-called oppressors living in one place. And look what happened. Their empire started to, like, their empire was falling. Like, it was falling so bad that they had a depression. But to us, it didn't mean it. When they said the Great Depression, it didn't bother us because we were so used to being poor. Like, we were so used to not having nothing. But you did have black cities that were flourishing. Like, you had a city in, you had Rosewood. You had places in Atlanta, Georgia. You had Harlem, New York. You had Tulsa, Oklahoma. You had these black cities that were flourishing. Like, black people were making so much money that it was ridiculous. We were making so much money that white people went through the Great Depression. You know, they went through a Great Depression because they wasn't getting black dollars. They weren't having black customers coming inside of their restaurants eating. They weren't buying their clothes. They weren't doing any business with them because we knew that these people hate us. So why should we join with these people? Why should we come together with these people when we know that they hate us? You know, we should continue to just be separated. And you know what I'm saying? And that's what our people did. Our people were separated, man. And when we did that, man, we flourished, man. It was beautiful. You know, Kazakh Sapar, my brother, I know you in, but he always talks to me about it, man. And I can only just picture it on how good things were when segregation was around. When we didn't have no choice but to be separated from these people who hate us, man. I mean, I guarantee it was a glorious thing, man. Because brothers weren't allowing drugs to come into their neighborhoods. You know, they weren't allowing sisters to prostitute themselves out. You know what I'm saying? We had compassion for one another. You know, we had dignity. And you know, like you might walk around the neighborhood, you might get your tail whooped by Miss Johnson up the street, but Miss Johnson know your mother and father, and she know that they raised you better than that. So you showing out, acting some way that you normally don't act when you're around your parent. Miss Johnson come out there whoop you with the belt. I'm gonna tell your mom and daddy when they get home too. And then when you go back home, your mom and daddy get on you, get a whooping, they discipline you, but you don't do that no more. But look at what happened to us now the minute that we decided to join hands with these oppressors. You can't even discipline your damn kids, man. You can't even tell your kids what to do. Soon as you whoop your kid come to school, what's wrong, Jaquez, what's wrong with you? I got a whooping last night. My mama got mad at me because, you know, I did this in the classroom and I got that letter and that you sent home to her telling her that I was being bad. Oh, she gave you a whooping? Let's go talk to the guidance counselor. They go talk to the guidance counselor. Next thing you know, you got DSS breathing down your damn throat trying to take your kids away from you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what happened the minute that we decided to join these other heathen nations. You know, the minute that happened, the things that we did on our own that kept us separate, it changed. So the business that we had, like, you know, whatever happened in our house, you know, like a kid might get a whooping, that just happened among our people. You know what I'm saying? And even if a kid went to school and told the teacher, what the teacher gonna do? Call DSS on you? She gonna look at you and say, you probably deserved it. You deserved it. You showed out yesterday in this class. And I told your mom and your daddy. And they gave you a whooping. Are you gonna do it again? No, ma'am, I'm not gonna do it again. He tell the teacher, no, ma'am. Because we had black teachers. You know what I'm saying? And the black teacher would tell your parents back then that you were showing out in the class, or people in the neighborhood seeing you showing out because they cared about you. They cared about you enough to discipline them yourselves, or send a letter home with your mama and telling your mama, hey, your son show out. You know what I'm saying? And then you get a whooping, you come back to school to that black teacher, and you don't act that way again. Or if you in the neighborhood showing out and the lady Miss Johnson give you a whooping and your mom and daddy give you a whooping, when you go back outside, you're not gonna show out again, because you know that it's people out here that care about you and they watching, man, and they see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? That's why we say, man, when we decided to join with these other nations, man, it destroyed us, man. It wiped us out, man. Like, it really it did a toll on blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. Same thing with the Latino brothers, man. The minute they start allowing these oppressors to come around their people, man, they did a number on our brothers and sisters, man. Like I said, man, the Most High knows better than we do, man. The Most High has always told the nation of Israel, which are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, to be separated from these other nations. Because the minute you join these other nations, you might as well kiss everything that you know about living goodbye, man. Everything that you established, you might as well kiss it goodbye, because it's going to go right out the window. You know what I'm saying? Martin Luther King was wrong when he told our people to join with these other nations, man. He was wrong when he told us to do that. You know, if you want the proof, go out and look at your neighborhood and see how segregation has destroyed us, man. See how us not segregating from these heathen nations has destroyed us. See how it's wiped us out, man. Now your neighborhoods are gentrified. And that neighborhood that once used to be black now has white people living in there with you, Caucasian people living in there with you. And now brothers used to could walk around, turn their music up loud, chill, have a cookout. But now when you try to do that, somebody calls the police on you. Somebody calls the police on you. Police come over there. Hey, you need to turn the music down. You know, your neighbor's complaining about it. But back then, you could turn the music up loud as you want. And guess what happened? Your neighbors will come out with you. Hey, you want to throw some food on the grill? You know what I'm saying? But our leaders, our black Christian leaders, our black politicians, you know what I'm saying, told us that, you know, we all got to get along. You know, if we want to make a change, we got to get along and work together. And look what happened to us, man. Us trying to work with these other nations has destroyed us. Gentrified our neighborhoods, turned our children into drug addicts. What do you think we learned about the weed from? You think that we really just woke up and started rolling weed? No, you ain't never heard of the hippies? You ain't never heard about the hippies in the 60s who were rolling up weed, smoking all the time? What do you think we learned this behavior from? What do you think we learned that violence from? The drug dealing. The pimping women. We learned it from these other nations, man. And instead of us trying to separate like the Most High told us, we just continue to join and join and join with them. You know what I'm saying? And what happens when you start to join these other people, man? You know, what else starts to happen when you start to join these people? The love that you once had for your people, you start to give that love to these people. Because now you don't got inside their empire. And you like what they got. You like their big homes. You like the nice fancy cars they got. You like how they dress. You like how they talk. You like how their hair looks. Like our sisters today, man. It's crazy, man. Our sisters have beautiful hair. Sisters will go out here and dye their hair blonde, just like the Caucasian woman, and look just like them. I ain't gonna say look just like them, but had a blonde hair and think they really doing something. You know, I don't like the blonde hair. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's crazy for you to be this way. The Most High set you up to be, you know, with your pretty black hair or your pretty brown hair, your brown eyes, and you know what I'm saying? You looking beautiful, and you know you go out there and dye your hair blonde like the oppressor, and make your eyes blue, or you know, I'm like, what the hell? I was like, why not just be separate? You know what I'm saying? Like I like to see the sisters with the micros in their hair or the all natural hair. You know what I'm saying? The cornrows in their hair looking beautiful. You know what I'm saying? You know how our sisters do it, man, looking beautiful and glorious. And then you have these Caucasian women, even the Chinese women, man, trying to do it like y'all doing. What do you think these sisters, not sisters, but what do you think these heathens get all this breast implants and butt implants from? You know, they get that from y'all. They want to be like y'all. But that's what happens when you separate from these other nations. you start keeping your own ways. You start dressing the way that you want to dress. Wearing your braids, your sundress. Dressing in modest apparel, looking beautiful. Wrapping your hair. Now you see Caucasian women wrapping their hair with the hair wraps, and I just be looking like, what the hell? What the hell are you trying to wrap up? You got that dog stringy hair. What are you trying to wrap up? They try to be like y'all. You know what I'm saying? So when you put that blonde hair and you try to be like them, don't do that, sis. Just be separate and do your own thing. You know what I'm saying? Because when you start to join with these other nations, you stop doing the things that make you different from these other people. And then another thing that you start to do is you start to love these people, and you start having more compassion for them than what you have for your own people. And another thing that happens when you start loving these other people, you start to get that desire to be with their people. Like when a brother doesn't separate from these people and he wants to join and be a part of them, you start seeing our brothers starting to throw away their women and start to get with these other oppressors women. These other nations, they start getting all these random and various women from other nations. And the same thing go for my sisters. Sisters, instead of just holding down the fort and, holding it down with their man, they be like, man, this brother broke. He ain't got nothing going on. I can go get me a white man like Serena Williams. Went and got her a rich white man, and she thinks she's living glorious now. But in the eyes of her people, they look at you like a sellout and a traitor. Same thing with Eve. What did Eve say? She said, with everything that's going on now in the world, she said when they turn on the TV and the news, her and her husband are in conflict with each other. It's always problems. You know what I'm saying? Because when she sees it, she sees the brothers getting shot down on TV and murdered. She feels the type of way. And he starts to feel the type of way because it doesn't bother him. Like, he don't give a damn. That's not his people. But she does have some type of compassion for her people. Maybe some, but not a lot. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Maybe a little bit, but not a lot. But it still bothers her. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm not mistaken, I want to say Jadakiss is her brother, or there might just be some crap they made up, but I don't know. But, she probably still has family who's, in the streets doing their thing, and she has to sit back and think about that. But she doesn't really care either, but I'm just saying, just using her as an example. Like, when you start to marry these people, these other people from these different nations, man, you start to lose the love for your people, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you stop loving your own people. I'm going to pull a scripture for you on that, man. I'm going to show you what happens when you stop loving your own people, and instead of being separate, you start to join with these other nations, and you want to be like them. And when you start to be like them, you start to want the things that they have. The mansions, the money, the cars, the clothes. They're women. And we're going to show you what's a big mistake with trying to join with these nations and then think you can get their women. You know what I'm saying? If you can't, go to the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 1. This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 1, and it reads, "But King Solomon loved many strange women." You know what I'm saying? King Solomon, one of the greatest kings to ever walk. One of the greatest kings, one of the wisest kings, the king of Israel at one point in time. When he didn't separate himself from these other nations, guess what happened, man? King Solomon started to love strange women. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to get some of these women that he started to love, because this is what happens when you don't separate from these other nations. For men and women, this is what happens when you don't separate and don't listen to the Most High. You stop giving your love to your own people, and you start giving your love to these heathen nations. And this is what happens. 1 Kings chapter 11 verse 1, and it reads, "But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughters of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, which are Chinese, women of the Ammonites, which are Japanese, women of the Edomites, which are white people, of the Zidonians and the Hittites, which are other African nations." Like, King Solomon started to give his love to these other nations because he didn't want to be separate anymore. He wanted to join with these other nations. And that was a big downfall. That was the reason for why the kingdom failed. And this is why this has been put in the scriptures to show us what happens when you don't separate from these other nations and you start to give your love to these other people and not to your own. And you start to love these strange women. Like the Most High calls these women that are not from your nation strange women. So if you're a brother out here right now and you married to one of these heathen women, the Most High looks at that woman like a strange woman, because there's nothing more beautiful than a black, Latino, or Native Indian woman. There's nothing more beautiful. Like, I don't get it. Like, I see brothers out here now, and I just be like, how could you want something like that when you have sisters who are just beautiful? Like, sisters be from the ghetto, from some of the worst neighborhoods, and be beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Same thing goes to y'all sisters. Y'all sisters got these brothers, man. So, you know, we have some brothers, and instead of getting with a brother, you'd rather drop him just to go love a heathen, just like Eve did, just like Serena Williams, Halle Berry. Who else did that crap? Diana Ross. The list goes on and on, man. Sisters stop dealing with their own people just to go get with one of these heathens, and then act surprised when he be like, "You ain't nothing but a dumb nigger." Like, that's what he always thought about you. He always thought you a dumb nigga. Same thing go for the brothers. Brothers go get to one of these heathen women, and they call them out their name, mistreat them, treat them like garbage, and they be sent back looking stupid. Like, I can't believe she did that. I can believe it. All right, I'm going to keep reading. All right, this is verse 2. And it says, "Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall thy come into you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods." You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the Most High telling us, man. That's what happens when you don't separate from these nations and you start to show love to them. Eventually, you're going to start to want everything that they have, even their women. And look what happened to King Solomon when he stopped loving his own people and he started to love these heathen women. You know what I'm saying? He started to turn his heart away from the Most High. He started to do these things that these heathens were doing. He started to love their gods. And look what happened to the empire when King Solomon did that. The empire fell, man. Because he stopped showing love to his own people. He stopped showing compassion. He stopped doing what the Most High told us to do, which was to be separate. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why it's so very important for us to give our love to each other and not to these heathen nations. It's good for us to separate and not partake in their ways, not do the things that they do. And you got brothers out here. I know a brother, man, he married a Chinese girl, man. He married her, and, you know, he was happy. But when I seen him, the last time I seen him, it's been some years now. You know, we used to be cool with each other in the world, you know, doing all type of foolishness. But he married a Chinese lady, and when I seen him, it was just like, he wasn't even the same. Like, you know, the brother was speaking, he was trying to learn Chinese. You know, he was eating all type of weird crap. Like, I was just like, man, you know, I didn't even know who he was anymore. Like it was weird. It was different. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the brothers when they try to marry these Edomite women, the Caucasian women. They change them up, man. Brothers be out there talking like they so sophisticated, tight clothes on, looking crazy, you know, doing things that makes her happy. You know, I just be like, man, like, I can't believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like, brothers don't even do what they used to do. And you know your mother and your father just so disappointed, you know, in you. Some are not, but a lot of them, I know a lot of them are. I know when I was growing up, my mother and father would snap my neck if I ever brought a Caucasian girl home. You know what I'm saying? Like they already knew. Like what the hell you doing? You trying to get hung from a tree? What are you doing? You trying to go to jail? Like they already knew the danger with it, with me or my brothers trying to date outside of our people, man. Like you ain't gonna be the same no more. You gonna start acting like them. You ain't gonna even, act the same. You gonna act different. You gonna act like you better than us. Act like, hey man, I don't do this. I don't do that. I don't eat that. I don't eat this. They gonna start looking at you like you crazy, man. All right, if you can, I'm gonna give you some more scriptures on us being separated from these other nations, man. You know what I'm saying? If you ever wonder why the empire failed, our nation failed, man, during the time of King Solomon, it was because he wasn't separated from these other nations, man. Like he was joining hands with these other nations, and when he started to do that, he started to fall in love and lust after their women. And look what happened to us, man. The empire failed. The nation fell, man. Just for people who didn't know, Martin Luther King also loved strange women. And they had him on videotape. Not videotape, but they had him on voice recorder loving these strange women. And if you ever wonder why Martin Luther King was just so anticipated on us joining with these other nations and being with them, it's because he loved their women. He loved their women. He loved Caucasian women. Not just any women, but like mostly prostitutes are their women. Like he loved it. And one day y'all will find out. One day this information will be brought out public, and it is going to blow the minds of people who love Martin Luther King. But the government, they're not going to try to do it because they always push Martin Luther King around like he was just such a great leader, because they know that he always pushed for us all to come together. But they know with us all coming together that one nation going to be on top and one nation is going to be on the bottom. So they always try to push that because it's for their benefit. It's for their benefit when Martin Luther King told us to join hands with the other nation, because he knew that our empire, our things that we had would fall and their empire would start to raise up more. So now that's why we're in the conditions that we're in now. That's why you don't have any more black-owned businesses. That's why black people are more poor. That's why you don't have as many Hispanic businesses like you used to. You know what I'm saying? Because we all fell victim to the bullcrap, the lies. That we all should be in one big melting pot. And things have got so bad now that we've been put on the bottom so bad that these other heathen nations are able to come here and be on top of us. Now you got the East Indians coming over here, taking over all the restaurants. You got the Chinese people coming over here, setting up their restaurant, robbing us blind too. You know what I'm saying? Like back then in the 60s, man, you didn't even have to, like the 60s and the early 50s and on down after that time, you didn't even have to worry about any of those things, man. But the minute that we decided to listen to these Christian leaders and join hands with these other nations and partake in their ways, we lost everything, man. But nowadays we're starting to wake up and realize the power that we have when it comes to us separating from them and joining together. And like I said, the Most High is forcing us to separate from these people. That's why you see so many of these things going on. You see brothers getting shot down by the police officers. You see the crazy Karens. They call the Edomite women crazy Karens. Calling the police on us, kicking us out of their neighborhood. And then you got the what's the other one? The crazy Kevins. Cussing us out. The Trump supporters going crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because they understand the power of separation. But it's like we still don't get it. So the Most High is going to continue to, to be like any father, to continue to discipline us until we finally just get it and be like, we need to separate, man. Like we just need to continue to be separate from these people. All right. If you can, man, go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, and verse 6. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6, and it reads, "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God." And like I told you earlier, the word holy means separate. And the Most High is telling us that we are a separate people unto the Lord, our God. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're a separate people. We're not like all of these other people. You know what I'm saying? We're nothing like these other people. You see that now today. Like, even Africans come over here to America and they don't bother us. They don't deal with us. They don't deal with the Negroes here in America. Like, they don't even like us. You know what I'm saying? Like, they always try to act like they're better than us. You know what I'm saying? The Most High already said that we were a separate people. So we're not going to act like these other heathen nations do. Like I said with the Africans. We're real close to the Africans when it comes to like business. Like, they right here, we got the school and we got a business right next to them, but we don't communicate with each other. We don't talk to each other. We don't deal with each other. We don't come over and try to speak to them because we know that we should be separate. Like, we're not trying to give them our love. And guess what? Things work terrific. They don't bother us. We don't bother them. We're able to do our own thing. They do their own thing. And guess what? We live good. You know what I'm saying? But when you start to love them, brother, sister, that's when you're going to start to catch hell. You're going to try to love them and try to be like them and everything. And guess what? They're going to show you time and time again that we're not the same people. We don't really want you around. We just got you around because we like taking your money. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got tons of sisters who at one point in time, still now they flood into these African hair braiding stores. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll have, you got sisters flooding into these African boutiques and hair salons, going to get their hair did. And sisters get their hair did, and then, after they take their hair out, they realize that their edges are gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see tons of, I seen one sister, like, her edges are gone so bad that she just continues to go get her hair braided by them because she tries to cover up the bald spot that she has on the side of her head. And that comes from them not knowing who we are. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know us like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't know our people. And so sisters now are starting to wake up and realize that we're different, and they're starting to understand that. So now you're starting to have more sisters doing hair now, doing nails, doing makeup, because we're starting to separate from these heathen nations. And with us starting to separate from these heathen nations, their companies their businesses are starting to lose money. You know what I'm saying? Like, today when I was leaving from the school, I seen the Hamite with since I've been there, she hasn't had the sign out by the road, but this time she had the sign out by the road, trying to tell people, hey, my business is right here, come by here and get your hair braided. But sisters are starting to realize that, we need to separate from these people because these people don't know us. They don't know our hair. They don't know, doing this too tight brings our braids out, brings our edges out. You know what I'm saying? They don't know that. So sisters are starting to disconnect themselves from these heathen nations, and they're starting to lose money. At one point in time, these Africans was getting filthy rich off of our sisters coming into their hair salons and getting their hair braided. And sisters just started to get to the point where they was like, you know what, I'm gonna stop going here because these people don't know me. They don't know about my hair, my style, my type of texture. But when sisters started to do that and separate and started to go back to their own people, guess what? Sisters able to grow their hair back out. Sisters know your texture of your hair because guess what? She's your people. And she gonna be like, well, sis, I ain't gonna braid your hair this tight because if I do it this tight, it's gonna bring your hair out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the power of separation. You dealing with somebody who knows you rather than go deal with somebody who don't know anything about you, let alone give a damn about you. You know what I'm saying? I really believe that a lot of them Africans braiding them sister hair braided that tight on purpose just so your edges can come out. Because they hate how y'all look. They know that y'all sisters are beautiful. You know what I'm saying? They know y'all got the good hair compared to them. You know what I'm saying? So what do? They take it out. Like, sometimes in some cases, you don't even see them wearing the type of hairstyle. You don't see a lot of them Africans with the braids in their hair like that. A lot of them just do their own little thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what type of hairstyles they rock, but I don't really see a lot of them wearing it like that. Let alone do I see their edges coming out. But our sisters were flooding inside of them African head stores and getting their edges ripped out. And so now with our people starting to separate and starting to realize certain things about these other people, like these African people who do their hair, and starting to realize like, hey, these people take your hair out on purpose. Sisters are going back to their own, people and getting their hair braided. You know what I'm saying? So now we're able to build up our own people. You know what I'm saying? Like now we're able to put money into the pockets of our own people. You know what I'm saying? And these heathens are losing money, and it's a glorious thing to see. The same thing with these nail salons. Sisters seeing how these Chinese people were beating the hell out of our people in these nails, our women in these nail salons. And sisters say, you know what? Let me go out here and learn how to do nails. Let me become a nail tech. Let me start to do my own sisters' nails. And guess what you got now? You got sisters who are supporting their own people, and these Chinese restaurants, these Chinese nail salons are starting to decrease in money. Don't think that they don't see it. Don't think just because they still have people coming in that they don't realize how much money is starting to come out of their pocket. They see it. And if we continue to do what we're doing by separating from them and, just continue to deal with each other, like we'll shut these nations down, man. Like you won't see any more Chinese nail salons inside the black neighborhoods. You'll see Keisha's nail salon. And Keisha gonna show a little more mercy on it. She ain't just so high class that, Keisha will show a little mercy on it. She, sister might come in, hey Keisha, I ain't got a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? You think you can help me out with getting my nails done until I get paid next week? Yeah, girl, I'll do your nails until you come back next week with the money. You know you good for it. Like, that's what we're supposed to be doing, because damn well the Chinese people ain't gonna allow you to do that. Them Africans ain't gonna allow you to do that. But your own people will allow you to do that. And that's the power of separating, man. That's the power of just separation. You start to build your own up, your own economy. You start to put money back into your people. And that's why the Most High stressed it so hard on the children of Israel to separate from these nations. That's how you become powerful. That's how you become mighty. That's how you create a nation of people, man. By separating from the other people and start to join yourself with your own people. You know what I'm saying? That's how you establish power amongst your own people. And that's what we're going to have to continue to do. We're going to have to continue to separate from this empire. We're going to have to stop celebrating their feast days. We're not going to be able to go out there and celebrate Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July. All of these traditions that they have gave us, man. Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is a horrible day, man. Good night, man. I pray that the Most High just wipes out all of the Valentine's Day cards. I pray that the card factory that makes the Valentine cards catch on fire, man, because that is one of the days out of the year that our people just turn into straight whores. They become some of the biggest whores on the face of the planet for some chocolate, a card, and some flowers. God damn, your body ain't worth more than that. Your body ain't worth more than some chocolate and a hotel room and a trip out of town. Good night. We're going to have to separate. If we want to continue to live and build our nation up, we're not going to be able to join with these people anymore, man. And the Most High is going to continue to allow things to happen to us until we realize. You're going to continue to see more racism out here. You're going to continue to see more police brutality. You're going to see brothers out here overdosing on drugs until we come to a realization that we got to stop following these nations and doing the things we do. You know what I'm saying? Imagine what happens when brothers stop selling drugs and they be like, you know what, man, I'm gonna stop selling drugs. I'm gonna stop selling the loud pack. I'm gonna stop selling the loud pack in the hood. I'm gonna stop selling the mollies and the pills and the whatever they got. What they got now? Whatever pills they got out here right now. So I'm gonna stop doing that, because what our people don't realize. Who do you think makes these pills? Who do you think makes these pills? These pharmaceutical companies. Who do you think makes the lean that you drinking? It ain't us. We don't own no pharmaceutical. We don't own none of these companies. We don't own the places where they make the lean. You know what I'm saying? We don't have these chemicals. Even with the loud that y'all smoking, the weed that y'all smoke, who do you think has majority of these fields growing? Who do you think they have to go to get the? Even if you do have a brother who says he might own a what's that called? Salaki. A dispensary, whatever, a dispensary. Even if you have a brother who might own one wherever it's legal at, who do you think he has to get authorization for him to be able to do that? He has to get it for the same people that oppress him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still have to deal with these other nations. Like, and that's why it's so important for us to separate. You know what I'm saying? Imagine what happens when brothers stop selling drugs in the neighborhood and be like, you know what? I'm going to do things different. I'm going to do things real different. I'm going to put down the drugs. I'm going to stop killing my own people. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to stop living like these heathens. And I'm going to do what the Most High told us to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you start to do that, your empire started to get built up. That's why the I.S.U.P.K, man, you see us, man, brothers, man. Like, brothers do, you know, they do glorious things in here, man. Like, brothers have really cut themselves off from being in this world, man, and just started to do what the Most High tells us to do. You know what I'm saying? And you see it here in the UPK, the power of that, man. Like, we're able to build schools. We're able to save families. We're able to save lives, man. We're able to make righteous marriages, man. Like, families are getting built up inside this UPK, man, because we decided to separate ourselves from these heathen nations in this world, man. You know, General YAHANNA held on to this truth, man, and he's taught us to do the same and separate. You know, he's seen the power in what happens when you separate from these other nations, man. That's why, man, I have to give, you know, all respect to the generals, man. All respect for them brothers to hold on to this truth. So brothers such as myself and people that are in the class were able to grab a hold of this and just realize, like, you know, maybe we should be separate. Maybe we should do things different. You know what I'm saying? And with that, man, we're able to save lives, man. Like, our lives are a lot different. Like people like to say, man, you know, they go out here and party and say, I'm living my best life. Man, I'm living my best life, man. Coming into the UPK, I'm living my best life, man, because I made a change, and with me making that change, my family made a change. You know what I'm saying? And things have been a lot more glorious for us, man. Don't get me wrong, we still in hell, we still in slavery, but it's way better than the life that I was living when I decided to join hands with these other nations and partake in their ways. Like, life is a lot better, man, because I see the power of separation and coming back to your people. You know, now I have compassion for my people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sell drugs to a brother. I'm not going to pimp out some sister. I'm not going to have sex with a woman and throw her away, man. You know what I'm saying? Because now I have compassion for my people, because I separated myself from all these other people. I stopped giving my love to all of these other nations, and I just only gave my love to my own people. And look at it now, man. Look at the brothers and sisters in the school who done the same thing. Stop giving their love to these other people and start to dedicate their lives to the Most High and become separate. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of our family members might say we crazy, but a lot of them do respect what we do, man. They respect it. They be like, you know what? I can say what I want to say, you know, about which I believe in and everything, but man, you really have changed. Same thing goes for the sisters, man. Like, I know a sister, man, you know, I sit back and I see the sisters and I see how much they have changed. I don't know what they went through in the world, but I know one thing. They all got the same mind, you know what I'm saying? They think the same, they move the same. They show sisterhood amongst each other. And it's a beautiful thing to see, man. To see how people really separate from this world and start to love each other and don't do the things that they used to do in the world. Not smoking weed, not selling drugs, not pimping out their women, not prostituting, not doing these various things that kept them destroyed. Now, these are the reasons why the Most High told us to separate from all of these other nations. Because the Most High knows better than man. He knows what happens when the people separate from another people, man. what I'm saying? I'm going to read this again from the top. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. And it says, "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth." You know what I'm saying? Like the Most High chose us, man. You know what I'm saying? He chose us, man. He wanted us to be separate, man. And with us being separate, man, we were a special people to him. And we were above all people that were on the face of this earth, man. Like, that's what happens when we are holy, when we are separate. You know what I'm saying? Like, we start to come back and be the Most High, and we become the Most High's people again. And he starts to show mercy upon us. He starts to show grace. He starts to be more with us, man. Like, that's the way the Most High is with you, because you start to follow his ways and you stop joining these other nations and stop partaking in their heathenistic customs, man. You put the pork down. And when you put the pork down, the shrimp down, the crab down, the lobster down, and all these unlawful food, guess what happens? You get your blood pressure under control, man. Like, I've seen sisters, man, and brothers, before they eat the pork chop, take a blood pressure pill. And, you know what I'm saying? I asked one of my family members one time, I was coming into the truth, and I asked them, I was like, "What's that pill you taking?" And they was like, "I'm taking my blood pressure pill." I was like, "Your blood pressure high?" They was like, "Not yet." I was like, "What you mean?" They was like, "I'm about to eat these barbecue ribs." And I was like, "What is it, pork or something like that?" They was like, "Yeah, pork. It's pork." And I was like, I thought to myself, I was like, damn, like, you gonna eat something that you know could kill you? Because if your blood pressure gets too high, you could die. And I just found it strange, and I was just thinking about it. And then when I got myself more into the truth, and I started to realize that pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster was unlawful foods, and I thought back to that situation with my cousin, I was like, damn, he really gonna eat something that can kill him? Like, these ribs can't be that damn good. Like, they got beef ribs. You know, they got lamb ribs, but yet my cousin was just like, I'm gonna take this blood pressure pill because I know, you know, when I eat this rib, my blood pressure gonna be high through the sky. And I was just like, damn. Like, brothers really out here dying just to eat some barbecue pork spare ribs. And I thought to myself, I was like, damn, it can't be that. It can't be that good. But then coming into the truth, I realized us eating pork came from these heathens. Like, us learning how to eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, we learned it from the heathens. Like, we didn't used to eat that crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, we learned it from them. And I started to realize the power of us separating and not doing the things that they do, putting the pork down, which they call the other white meat, putting the shrimp down, the crab down, the lobster down, putting their drugs down. Stop mistreating our women. Stop lying to these women, and stop making them believe that a piece of paper is more important than your body. You know what I'm saying? Stop doing all these wicked things, and then just start to realize, like, you know, things are a lot different when you come into this truth and you separate yourself from these people, man. And not just yourself, but like if you got a family, you know, your kids, your wife, or your husband, like your whole family literally separates, man. Like your kids get accustomed to not keeping Christmas. You know what I'm saying? 4th of July, you find your kids like sitting back like, what's Thanksgiving? What's Christmas? You know what I'm saying? And then you able to save some money because you're not celebrating Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine what happens imagine how much money you're going to have in your bank account when you don't celebrate Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Imagine how better your life is going to be when you don't go out there and shoot fireworks on the 4th of July and your child don't blow his hand off. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go to another scripture, man. There's more scriptures showing you that the Most High never intended for us to be with these other nations, man. So whenever you hear somebody telling you that we all gotta come together and join hands to end racism, just understand that they're lying to you, man. Like, us coming together with these people is never going to end racism. It's never going to change the conditions of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. The only way that we can change the conditions is if us as a nation of people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, come back and serve the Most High. You know what I'm saying? We have to sever ourselves from these other nations. We got to cut ourselves off from these other nations. You know what I'm saying? And when I say that, I'm not saying that you can't go, I'm not saying that you can't go get a job and work. I'm not saying that you can't, go out to eat at a certain particular restaurant. I'm just saying that when you separate from these heathens, don't partake in none of their traditions. Don't partake in 420. Don't celebrate 4th of July, Easter. What else they got? Thanksgiving. Black people love some Thanksgiving. Good night. They gotta have that turkey and that ham, and that Christmas and their birthdays, man. Stop celebrating these heathen traditions, man. Come back to the Most High, man. Separate yourself from these people. Alright. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14, verse 2. And it reads, "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Most High have chosen thee to be a particular people unto himself." And the word particular just means like, special. You know what I'm saying? Like individualistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just focused on y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm just worried about y'all. Like, this is my people. Y'all are particular people. All right. And the Most High said, unto himself, above all nations that are upon the earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Most High is it's all up and down in the Bible on how the Most High only chose Israel, and how we were a separate people, and how he always wanted us to be separate from these other nations. Like, it's all through the Bible. It's through the Old Testament and the New Testament. But yet your Christian pastors have this book, and they sit in front of everybody in the congregation and they lie to everybody. Oh, we all got to come together. We got to join together. If we want to end racism, we got to hold hands and try to make a change. We got to enter into the politicians. We got to do this and we got to do that. And we have had tons of brothers and sisters enter into their political seats and join their government organizations, become police officers, become police chiefs, and do all of that. And it hasn't changed anything. So let's try something different. Let's listen to what the Most High told us to do, man. Let's come in this I.S.U.P.K, man, and listen to what the Most High has told us to do, man. Commanding General YAHANNA, man, has been waking up brothers, man, like left and right with this truth, and telling us and showing us how to follow the Most High and showing us how to do it right. Because we've been lied to for so many years, man. And he always tells us, man, he always expresses that we should be separate from these other nations. Now, I remember back when he was telling that, when I first started watching the classes and the videos of the brothers speaking on the streets. And he always told us, like, this was the time during Barack Obama, he always told black people, Latinos, and Native Indians, he said, we need to separate from this empire. Like, he was like, us not separating, we was gonna, they voted Barack Obama, and he told brothers, he said, what y'all vote Barack Obama in is gonna be somebody that's gonna come in the chair and be a lot worse than him. And he was correct. He was right. And look who got in the chair. Look who got in the chair, because we didn't want to separate and not partake inside of their political things, man. We wanted to join their voting system. Look what happened. Donald Trump got in the chair. And guess what now? Who you gonna vote for now? Joe Biden? Donald Trump? Like, some of our people don't got to the point where they're so desperate that they're willing to vote for Donald Trump. And I was just like, they don't get it. Like, they don't get it. Like, what does the Most High have to do more to us, man? Like, how much more do we have to take, man, in order for us to understand that separating is going to be the only way to get out of this? How many more brothers have to die? How many more sisters have to die, man? Look at how many sisters don't die, man. Like I looked at that story with Breonna Taylor, man. And then something came out about that neighborhood that she stayed in. They were trying to gentrify, and they wanted her out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just thought about it, and I was like, damn, man. Like, these devils want to be separated from us. They'll go as far as just to kill us, just to get out of their neighborhoods, man. Like, to get out of the neighborhood so they can put their own people in. Like, how many more of our people have to die, man? Innocent people, innocent brothers, innocent sisters. Like, we're going to have to get to a point where we're going to have to separate and start to police ourselves. We're going to have to start governing ourselves, man, because when you have a cruel beast like these oppressors that are over you, man, we die in these streets, man. Like, we continue to die in these streets. Like, the Most High is trying to show us, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Donald Trump is in the chair again for another 4 years, I believe more and more of our people are going to continue to wake up. But these Christians in these churches, these Christian pastors who lie to the congregation and the people and tell them that, you know, we got to do better the next 4 years when it comes to voting, like, they're going to be obsolete. Like, nobody's going to be in these churches no more because they're going to see how weak these Christian pastors really are. And they're going to realize how much they've been lied to, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'm going to give y'all another scripture, man. All right, if you can, what's the scripture I was going to go to? Oh yeah, go to First Peter chapter 1 verse 16. First Peter chapter 1 verse 16. This is in the New Testament, and it reads this right here. Because it is written, be ye holy. And like I said, the word holy means separate. And it says, for I am holy. You know what I'm saying? Like, even in the New Testament, man, you're always supposed to be separate, man. Be separate, man. Like, I don't know what else it's going to take for us to realize, man, like, I pray no more brothers and sisters continue to get killed, but I already know, man, it's going to continue to happen. Like, it's going to continue to happen. It's going to get worse. Like, things are going to get a lot worse because the Most High is forcing us to separate from these people. Like, he's forcing us. Like, he's giving us no option, no choices. He's just like, listen, y'all don't want to separate from these people? I'm going to force you to separate. Just like during the time of Egypt, man. During the time of Moses. The Most High made these Egyptians come down on us so hard that we got to a point where we were just like, listen, I don't want to do anything that they're doing, man. I just want to serve the Most High. I just want to do what he wants us to do. I don't want to be joined to these people. Man, like I said, man, I don't know how many more of our people are going to have to continue to go through this destruction in hell before us to wake up and realize. But it's going to get a lot worse until we just get to the point where we realize, man, like, hey, we got to separate. You know, it was a story that they had where the brother had it on video. This might have been 3 or 4 months ago, where the brother was he was with some of his Edomite friends, and they was taking this shortcut through the woods to go somewhere. And when they went through the woods, they encountered some other Edomites. But the other Edomites were racist as hell. They was showing their hatred, and they were trying to hang this brother on camera, like they was trying to do a live lynching on camera. Like they grabbed him, snatched him up, like they were gonna hang this brother, man. And you know what I'm saying? The bad thing about it was the brothers, I don't think he still got it. Like, he didn't get it. Like, damn, maybe if I would have just separated from these people, maybe I wouldn't have to go through this. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee you, he still thinks that he can get along with Caucasian people, or he's gonna sit back and be like, you know what? Even though they don't like me, it's still some good ones out there. Like, don't be that brother. Don't be that brother. Don't take a chance with your life trying to believe that everybody's good. Hey, it might be some good ones out there. It might be. I don't know. I'm not taking a chance. I'm going to continue to be separate and just join my people, man. I'm going to do what the Most High tells me to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to listen to what Commander General YAHANNA has told us to do, man, which is to serve the Most High and come back and keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. Like, I'm going to do that. And with that, man, I'm going to go ahead and end this class, man. Yeah, the announcements. Alright, this is the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brother and sisters. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 through 21. Malachi 3, 8 through 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'asharah. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or a teacher. Priest funds, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations, which will be the memorial of blowing the trumpet, the first day of the 7th month, which will be Thursday, September the 17th, 2020, which is tomorrow. And we have that online where we'll be having it at. We'll be having it in Simpsonville, South Carolina, down here in Greenville. 430 Southeast Main Street, Simpsonville, South Carolina. All right. And it says, announcements, holy convocation. Remind Akim and Akwaf to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, shalom.